Hey YouTube, how are you doing today? Random Nation coming at you. If you noticed, I'm not wearing a Burger King hat. Does anybody recognize this? It's a Hardee's hat, also known as a Carl's Jr. hat. I quit my job. I've been working there for a year and a half, almost 2 years now. And, I never really wanted to say nothing bad about my old job on YouTube just because of the fact that, I didn't want somebody that I worked with, to pass it along to the boss and end up getting me fired prematurely. I was supposed to be going to third shift, making $10 an hour, and they kept BSing around this excuse, that excuse, this excuse, that excuse, and I got tired of it, honestly. Back last year in December, I was actually supposed to be promoted to shift leader, and I was supposed to be getting $1 raise for that. And they told me all I had to do was finish my computer stuff, which was some tests they had on the computer. I had no problem finishing that stuff. Until the day they pulled the computers out and I couldn't finish that stuff. So I was never able to make it to shift leader, even though I was told by I guess it's the general manager. I was told by him that I was shift leader. I'm like, well, why didn't I get my pay increase that I was supposed to get? I never got an answer to that question, by the way. Also, like I said, been there for almost 2 years, never got a raise. Sitting there at $8 an hour for 2 years. When they told me when I first started, I would get a 25-cent raise after being there for 6 months. That never happened. I had times where I was sick and, of course, not able to make it into work, so I call them about 4 or 5 hours in advance, telling them, hey, look, I'm sick. I'm not coming into work today. And, I didn't miss, the entire time I was there, I might have missed a total of 4 days. Okay, maybe 5 max. Which, in my opinion, is not bad by any means. But every single time that I called them and told them, hey, I'm sick, I can't come into work, I always got the response of, well, you're going to have to go to the hospital and bring a doctor's note. The thought that's going through my head when they tell me this is, are you planning on paying this hospital bill? Because I shouldn't have to go to the hospital every single time I get sick. I know if I have an upper respiratory infection or bronchitis, or I just have a bad cold going on, or if I have bad allergies going on. I know this. There's no reason for me to go to the hospital for that. Unless it gets bad, there's no reason for me to go to the hospital for that. And of course, their response is, no, we're not going to pay for that. I'm like, well, then I shouldn't have to go to the hospital. Well, if you don't go to the hospital, you're getting wrote up. So you're forcing me to spend money I don't really have to begin with to go to a hospital I shouldn't have to go to for something just because I'm sick and can't make it into work one day. But yet I see other people every single day just about calling into work or just plain out not even showing up for work and never really have anything said to them at all. Never get wrote up, never get in any kind of trouble. And I'm just like, okay, well, this is not fair. So the last time I called out of work, I didn't go to the doctor. I called them, told them I was sick. They told me to go to the doctor. If I was calling into work, I said, okay, whatever, I'll go. I didn't go. When I come in the next day, because I was feeling a little better, I was still sick, but I came into work anyway. Keep in mind, this is a restaurant where your people's food's getting made, and I'm sick at work. I come into work, I'm puking at work, and the first thing they asked me is, where's the doctor's note? My response to them was priceless. I said it's still at the doctor's office right where I left it because I didn't go. Okay. Some more stuff that happened there was, I'm not going to say any particular names, but I had some particular bosses. I heard them quite a few times call me Cracker, and I just kind of let it go because, I don't want to lose my job because they are my boss. If I tell on them, I'll get in trouble. In fact, we had this one boy, he told on one boss because the fact she showed him some naked pictures of her boyfriend. He told on her, and he didn't have a job after that. So kind of messed up situation on that part. But my point is, my boss was being prejudiced to me. I ignored it. I was like, all right, whatever. Okay, and then, we have a crew of usually 2 or 3 people on the back line making the sandwiches. And at night when we close, we have a list of stuff we have to get done. Of course, wiping down all the counters and putting up all the food is one of the things, or 2 of the things we got to do. Then we got to clean out the little PHU units. If you don't know what that is, that's where the meat trays are at. Okay? We got to wipe those out real good. You got to clean the fry station where the fries are sitting when you get your fries. That's called a fry station. You got to filter the fryers every single night. And some nights you actually have to take the oil out of the fryers and throw it away. Now, here's one thing I have an issue with the filter in the fryers is because the fact that for the last month or so, they've had, this is the 3rd time now, where we didn't have the fry filtering filters. And, instead of saying, hey, we'll just skip it for tonight and we'll get some fry filters, or we'll go to another store and get some fry filters, I was told to use cardboard, and I argued with it and argued with it and argued with it and said, no, we shouldn't do that. You're putting chemicals into people's food that does not need to be in their food because they don't know about these chemicals. I mean, these people could be allergic to it, or it could be something serious. It could actually cause somebody to go into some kind of shock, or worse, God forbid, die from having these chemicals in the grease that's cooking their fries. And I was told to either do it or get wrote up. So, of course, I don't want to lose my job, so I do it. I did actually record me doing it. I will post that video later for everybody to see that I'm not lying on this. But back to the list of stuff. Okay, we got the fryers. We also have to clean the floors. We have to clean all the counters off. We have to clean the broiler, which means we have to take that entire broiler apart and clean it inside and out and put it back together. And then we have to wash all the dishes. And when I say the floor, I mean we literally have to deck scrub the floor. And what I mean by deck scrub means you get hot, soapy water and you throw it all over the floor, and you take a brush and you scrub that floor as hard as you can until you get everything up. And then you take a squeegee and squeegee all that water to a drain. Then you have to get some more hot water that's just clean hot water and throw it down on the ground and then squeegee that to the drains to get all the filth and grime off the floor. And I don't have no problem doing my job. I do my job very well as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I could be tooting my own horn there, but considering the fact that you got 2 or 3 people, and I was the only person that ever filtered the fries. I was the only person that ever pulled the broiler completely apart and cleaned it. Most of the people just wiped off the outside of it and went on about their day, which is a bad thing because the fact all that stuff stays stuck on the inside of the broiler, so meat from yesterday is still inside the broiler, and then they go and cook your hamburgers on top of it, so it's just nasty. Mind you, yes, it is getting hot enough to kill any kind of germs and stuff inside there, so it's not going to make you sick, but it's just nasty. Okay? Another thing they did that was nasty was we have the shake mix and ice creams there. Okay? If you've ever worked in fast food, you know most of them have those packets of ice cream mix or shake mix. It's like basically milk, okay? And it runs to the machine. Well, at the end of the night, we pull it out of the machine, put it in this little tin bucket. The problem is that in the morning they put that tin bucket back in the machine, which is perfectly fine, but the first shift doesn't never clean that bucket, so that milk residue that's left in that bucket stays there all day until we close. And depending on who actually washes the dishes that night, depends on whether that actually gets cleaned. I've seen the milk sit in that thing for 3 days straight with nobody cleaning it. Till I finally walk over there and say, look, this is disgusting. It's got to be cleaned. You know, and when I first started there, I used to work my butt off trying to make sure everything was done. I would clean everything I could possibly do. I would go out of my way to make sure everything was clean. In fact, I had quite a few times where I was cleaning walls and my bosses literally got onto me for cleaning the walls because they said there was more productive stuff that I could do. I'm like, I understand, but there's also 2 other people over there that could be doing that stuff while I'm over here cleaning the walls. If they need my help, they can holler for me, or I can just, you know, if I see a car, I can go over there, wash my hands, and make the sandwiches. No big deal. But I was getting in trouble for cleaning. Now, the reason why you want to clean walls in restaurants is because bugs and spiders and all kind of nasty stuff ends up on that wall, and eventually, if it, like, say if a bug dies on the wall, you know, it could sit there and hold on to that wall for a week and just randomly fall off into somebody's sandwich. You know, and I'm not saying they had bugs, even though I did see a few bugs here and there, but it wasn't nothing extravagant. It's a restaurant. You're going to have some kind of bugs or something in the restaurant. Okay, it don't matter what kind of store it is, it's going to have some kind of bugs in it. But it's just the fact that I was getting in trouble for cleaning the wall. You know, and I go into the bathroom. In the bathroom, the people for the front line supposedly had cleaned the bathroom, and I'm going, dude, it still smells like pee in here. If they cleaned it, it would not smell like pee in here. All they have to do is mop around the toilet, clean around the toilet, and spray the walls around the toilet with some bleach spray and wipe it all down. Problem solved. But apparently that was too hard for people to grasp. You know, and then of course there's the issue with the fact that we got first shift will leave a mess, and then second shift has to come in behind them and clean up first shift's mess. Which happens at a lot of restaurants, and I understand that. But then when you say something to your manager, they're blaming it on first shift manager. You know, which first shift manager left at 3 o'clock, and the first shift crew didn't leave till 5 o'clock. So that means the second shift manager, which would be the 5 o'clock manager, should have been the one to tell them, hey, before you leave, this mess needs to be cleaned up before you leave. They need to have everything they need over here before you leave. The problem is the management in that store is so backwards. They don't understand the concept that they are the ones that are supposed to be in control. They'll literally let people just run out the door. Hell, for the longest time, they were talking about how this one guy was their best employee, and he coming to work every day high, stoned as hell. He was their best employee, coming to work every day, stoned as hell. Every time I walked in there, he was over there, you know. Normally you'd call it flirting, but when you're at a business, running a business, it's called sexual harassment. When he's telling girls, damn girl, I'd take you home, you know, you know, that's sexual harassment. He should have been fired a long time ago. He finally quit. Okay? And me, because I'm the one that'll get in there and I'll actually clean and do this and do that, and I never really argue with them. You know, I have my occasion where they'll say something that's just completely stupid and I'm trying to say something back. Or, you know, like the other day, one of them got on to me because the fact I forgot to use the tongs. We have tongs, but we also have gloves. Most places that have gloves use the gloves to do what they have to do, as far as making sandwiches and stuff. If you have tongs, you don't normally wear gloves because, you know, that's the whole point of the tongs, because you're not touching the food. Okay? But he got on to me for not using my tongs. It was my fault. I didn't use the tongs. I used the glove. I just kind of reached up, grabbed the piece of meat, and stuck it on the sandwich because I was trying to get the person's order out the window. They were waiting on their food. He got on to me for it, and I said, okay, whatever. Just like that. No big deal. No kind of problem. But I got wrote up for it. As soon as he told me I was getting wrote up for it, I said, well, I'm just going to go home then. If you're going to write me up for something that petty, there is no reason for me to be here. I'm just going to go ahead and go home. So I went home. And 20 minutes later, I go to Hardee's, right down the road from me. I walk in there, talk to the manager. She says, fill out the application online, and we'll have you in here by tomorrow. So, sure enough, I'm no longer with Burger King. I'm now with Hardee's. I don't know how they're going to turn out, but you can't be much worse than Burger King, the way I was treated. Now, mind you, I'm not saying everybody there was bad. I mean, my one boss, we didn't get along to begin with. We had a lot of issues to begin with as far as getting along. But she never once wrote me up. You know, I always smarted off to her and everything, and I admit that because the fact that when somebody says something to me that's, you know, if you're telling me something that's common sense or that I feel is common sense, don't be surprised if I give you a smart-ass remark back. I mean, it's just force of habit. I have 3 kids. I mean, it's no excuse, but just saying, it's just force of habit. You know, so, I mean, there for the longest time, me and her didn't get along, but after a while, she got to where she understood me, and we got along more and more and more, and now, of course, I consider her a good friend. She's actually a really nice lady. I don't have no issues with her. I mean, she's had a couple of little things that she's done that I didn't like and didn't appreciate, but I let them go because I am a bigger man, okay? And I'm not saying I'm perfect by any means, because I'm definitely not perfect. Although I did say the other day my manager thinks he's perfect because apparently, you know, he's never made a mistake. You know. But, you know, there's one thing after another, and like I said, we got the 3 people on the back line that's supposed to be doing all the work, and usually around 10 o'clock, one of them would go home, which would leave 2 of us to close, which is perfectly fine. That's plenty enough people to close the back line. So that means you're supposed to split the work evenly to where, you know, one person does this stuff, one person does this stuff. The problem is this one girl, she would go over there and, like, say if she wanted to do the dishes that night, that's what she'd do, is the dishes. That was it. Literally, that was it. I had to clean the boards, clean the floor, clean the fryers, clean the fry station, clean the hood, clean the broiler, and then on top of that, I also had to go do the pre-closure stuff, which is cut off the box lids and all that kind of stuff. I had to take out trash. And I'm like, okay, so she washed the dishes. You know, so there was a few times where I decided, hey, I'm going to wash the dishes. I'm going to get a little payback. I'm going to wash some dishes. So I'd go in there and I'd wash the dishes. But this person would take their time wiping down a board. Literally, it's probably about an 8-foot long board. It's about 1.5 feet wide. And all they have to do is take a rag and wipe it down. It should take no more than a minute or 2. That's all it ever took me, was a minute or 2. But somehow, I had enough time to wash all the dishes from the entire day, and do the broiler, and do the fryers, and do the floor, and do the fry station in the time it took them to wipe off one board. And it wasn't like this was a one-time occurrence. This was every single night. We closed at 11:30. I'm supposed to be out of there. They have the schedule wrote to where I'm out of there by 12:30. But I wasn't getting out of work until 2, 3, and 4 in the morning sometimes. And on Fridays and Saturdays, we close at 12. And I wasn't getting out of there until 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning sometimes. I think the latest, honestly, God's honest truth. I think the latest I ever got out of there was right there at 3:30. But still, you understand the concept of what I'm saying here. Is the fact that I'm having to do all the work. And then all these managers are coming at me and griping at me saying, why are you taking so long getting everything closed? Why are you being here so late? Why is it taking you so long to get all this stuff finished? I'm like, where is the you in the word team? This is supposed to be a team effort, not a Kevin effort. This is a team effort. You know, and I had no problem staying there. I stayed there for as long as I could. I was supposed to be moving up to third shift to do the senator position for $10 an hour, which would have been great. But the problem is, what I figured out in these last few weeks is they've done figured out that I can do all the senator work that he gets 8 hours to do at nighttime after I leave. I get 8 hours. You know, I think it's from 10 o'clock at night to like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning that this person gets to clean all this different stuff, which would be the fryers, the broiler, the floor, whatever dishes are left, the lobby, all that stuff. Okay, that's what they got to do. They got 8 hours to do this. But me, I was able to do it in 2 to 3 hours after we close. And I think they realized that. They're like, well, we could pay him for $10 an hour for 8 hours, or we can pay him $8 an hour for 2.5 to 3 hours. Which one would you do? They're like, well, we're just saving money. Let him stay on second shift. They never said anything to me. I sat there and filled out my paperwork. First time I filled it out, they said they couldn't read it. Second time I filled it out, they said they couldn't read it. Third time, I sat there with the manager and filled it out really slowly. And the way I would describe it is like a kindergartner, where the kindergartner's trying to write it perfect, so they're going as slow as possible, so there's no possible way of saying they can't read it. So this time they sent it off, supposedly. And I'm waiting, and waiting, and waiting. And then she comes back and says, it's going to be about 2 more weeks. Okay, I'm waiting. 2 more weeks pass, still nothing. You know, and then they're like, oh, well, you haven't took the drug test yet. Well, no point in me taking the drug test yet if you ain't got the background check stuff done yet. No point. Just a waste of time. Get the background check stuff done, let me know, and I will go do the drug test. Because, I mean, you know, there's no point in me doing the drug test before you get the background stuff back. You haven't got it back yet, have you? Nope. But yet, like I said, I don't think they would really want to give it to me. But the last 2 weeks that I've worked there, I realized that we got this one boy. He's new. He's not real new. He's been there for a couple of months. But he's been coming up to me and having me show him how to do the fryers. Still not doing them. I've showed him how to do them. He's still not doing them. But I showed him how to do the fryers. I showed him how to pull the broiler apart. And I started noticing, I was like, well, they got me showing him how to do this. They got me showing him how to do this. I'm starting to think they're not going to put me on night shift. They're going to put him on night shift and kind of leave me stuck. So, of course, when I went down to Hardee's and I was talking to them and asked them how much y'all pay, they said $8 an hour. It's got to be on the TV. Yeah, it's on the TV. Okay, I saw a smudge on the thing and I was trying to figure out where it's at. So they pay $8 an hour. So does Burger King. They both pay $8 an hour. Okay. Burger King is 20 miles away. Hardee's, on the other hand, I can literally throw a rock at. So, logically thinking, I'm like, well, Burger King's 20 miles away. I'm having to spend about $15 a day in gas just to get back and forth to work. And Hardee's, I can walk to, so it won't cost me the gas money. So $15 a day with 8 hours, well, that's $2 basically. That's pretty much $15 an hour. I mean, not $15. That's $9.50 an hour. So it'd only be making 50 more cents if I worked night shift. The $10 an hour shift. That's all I'd really be making is 50 cents extra. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't really think 50 cents extra is really worth the bull crap they're putting me through. You know, so I started weighing the pros and cons and thinking about it. And I said, you know what? This really isn't worth it. So, yesterday, I go to work. All's fine and dandy. I've got one of my shirts on underneath my Burger King shirt. I'm sitting there at work and I'm thinking. I'm like, what should I do? What should I do? I got this one job that I could go to. They're already pretty much hired me. All I have to do is say yes and I'm in. And I start whenever I tell them I can start. Or I got Burger King I'm already here. I've been here for a year and a half. But I get treated like crap. So, I sat there and thought about it, and finally just said, you know what, Kevin, you're an idiot if you don't swap jobs. I mean, you really are, because you're just willing to let these people keep running you over, and that's all they're going to keep doing. In fact, they'll probably run you over until they find somebody else that can do the stuff that you do, and then they're just going to say, oh, well, see you later. Because I've seen this happen plenty of times before. So, basically, once I came to the revelation, if I can get the word out, revelation. As soon as I came to the revelation that I should quit Burger King, go ahead and go to Hardee's, the first thing that popped in my head was a song. And I'm not going to do it just yet, but give me about an hour after this is posted, and I will be posting the song. And y'all should definitely check it out, because it's going to be really hilarious. Yeah. It's going to be hilarious. And I've got a couple of other videos to go along with it and everything, so I'm going to post them in, time increments and everything. So we're going to see how this goes. But here's the great thing about Hardee's. Okay, yes, tomorrow I have to go into work tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. I don't like working morning shift because I'm not a morning person. I don't really do good at sleeping at night, So I've always preferred second or third shift. Preferably third shift. But the manager already knows this. I've already explained this to her. So she said that just for the training purposes, she's going to put me on first and second shift to get through training to where I can learn how to make the sandwiches, learn how to work the registers, and this, right? Awesome. But then she's moving me to third shift. And if I'm not mistaken, I think third shift, isn't it third shift an extra $1 an hour? So that means I will be getting that $9 an hour. Yeah. So there goes that 50 cents out the window, and I'm actually making an extra 50 cents down here at Hardee's. So yeah, like I said, guys, I hope y'all enjoy this video, understand this video, and for anybody that works at Burger King that's mad because I didn't show up for work, because I didn't tell them I'll quit. I just quit, because they showed me disrespect. I'm not trying to be an ass, but, I'll give you the same respect you give me, which is absolutely none. I could be respectful and call and say, hey, guess what? I quit. Bye. I actually even had the thought of going down there to Walmart and buying a cake and having them write on the top of it, I quit, have a nice day, and taking it in and handing it to my boss, and then just turn around walking out the door. And there is a story behind why I would want to do that. Is because all the time we have customers and employees that bring cakes and stuff and just give them to us. So that would be a hilarious way to do that. And I kind of want to do that. But at the same time, I've never really been good with looking people in the face when I quit a job. I don't really like going in and seeing people. because I always feel like I'm going to feel bad for quitting, and then I'm going to change my mind, and I'm just going to feel like an ass or something. And this is just that one of those situations where I just feel like there is no reason I should feel bad. So, if you work for Burger King, deuces. Maybe I'll see you on the street somewhere. If you don't work for Burger King, don't forget to check me out over here again. Y'all have a great day. This is Random Nation out. I know this is a 30-minute video, but if you're my true subscriber and you truly watch my stuff, you'll watch it all the way to the end. And for you, I want to say thank you for watching this all the way to the end. Thank you very much. And do me a favor. I've done this once before, but type rainbows down in the comment section just so I know who all watched it to the end. Deuces, guys.